Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and you might be surprised that I'm not standing next to a TV. That's because I review other things as well. What is inside this box is very special. I'm talking about the Sony wh1000xm4. And while the name didn't get better, the headphones definitely did. And that's the theme for this review. So first, let's crack them out. All right, let's go ahead and get our first look. We'll unzip this, and we can expect this to look a lot like the XM3, and they do. The finish is a little bit more matte and rubbery. I like that. This is obviously the silver or gray pair. I also have a charcoal pair, which I've been listening to for about 5 days. Pull everything out. There's a headphone cable, an airline adapter, because yep, that's still a thing. And then, man, I was really hoping they would make this longer. This is the USB-C charging cable, and I just don't see what this kind of length is useful for. I suppose if you have a battery pack, that's cool. But you know, anytime you're going to be plugging into a USB charging outlet, you want a larger cable, and I'm really bummed out about that. And then we'll get to the headphones themselves, cradled in the case as one might expect. Get everything out of the way here, and all right, there's our NFC to pair there. And we know that the right ear cup also is going to have touch controls and swipe controls. That hasn't changed. Taking a look here, there's our USB charging port. And then if we flip these guys around, our headphone jack, our power button, and let's see, we've got a custom button here. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well. And if I unfold these, Sony's told me they've added like about 25% more surface area to go around the ear. That's going to play to comfort. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. If you can see in there, there is a little sensor. That is the wear sensor. So that's going to tell the headphones when you're wearing them and when you aren't. Overall, a very similar look. It looks like the headband radius might be a little bit different. Let's get a closer look at that in just a moment as well. So I pulled out my trusty XM3s because I want to compare some of the physical attributes of the two headphones. Take a look at some similarities and differences. One similarity for sure is the pairing process. You don't actually have to have the phone tapped to the NFC chip. You can just set it near the headphones and it's going to pick them up. Turn on the headphones, you get a prompt on your Android phone, go ahead and grant them access, and the phones do the rest. It's super fast, super simple, and I absolutely love it. Now, as for the differences between the two headphones headbands, there is a difference, but it's really, really tough to see. The radius is just slightly altered, and that's supposed to be more comfortable. Also, same with the ear cups here. You can see there's a little bit of a difference, but again, it's really more about how it feels. So if I take the XM3 and put these on, and you know, I've been wearing these for like 2 years. Actually first reviewed these in Berlin when IFA was happening. Not happening this year. And they're very familiar to me. They feel great, always have. Honestly though, the XM4 do in fact feel better. There's less clamping force. There's less force on the crown. More of it is transferred to the ear pads, which do go around the ears a little bit better, a little bit wider. But in doing so, it's distributing the clamping force out a little bit more. So even though it takes some of the weight away from here and puts it here, it spreads it out and you get a more comfortable headphone. And also, I gotta say, the passive noise isolation, it shouldn't be better, but it is. Now I wanna talk about some of the technical differences, stuff you don't see, but you definitely experience. Our only real criticism of the XM3 were that they could not pair to more than one device at a time. That thankfully has changed. The XM4 will connect to 2 devices at a time. So the use case for that is, say you're connected to your laptop and you're listening to music, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call, it's automatically going to switch to the incoming signal for the phone call so that you can take the phone call, have that conversation, end it, and as soon as you end it, it's going to resume playing music from your laptop. And that extends to all kinds of different devices. You could be listening to your TV, switch to your phone, and then go back to your TV. What's important here is that finally you can connect to 2 devices. One other great improvement is that wear sensor that I mentioned earlier. So you're listening to your music or whatever audio source you've got going on. When you take the headphones off, it'll pause that audio source. And if you don't put the headphones on within about 15 minutes, it's going to straight turn them off, which is fantastic. If, however, you do go and put them back on, it's going to reinstate that audio source so that you don't have to press any buttons. It's automatic, and I love that feature, not just because it's convenient, but also because it saves battery life. Which brings me to something that has not changed, and that is battery life, which is exactly the same as the XM3 excellent performance. You get about 30 hours of performance with active noise canceling on, 38 with active noise canceling off, and once they die, you're gonna get about 5 hours of performance with just a 10-minute charge. No complaints. One other improvement I've been enjoying very much, you might remember with the XM3, if you had ANC on and you wanted to speak to somebody, you would hover over the right ear cup with your hand, and that would pipe in external noise so that you could hear them and have a conversation. I always felt like that was kind of a dorky thing to do. Fortunately, it's automated with these headphones. Now, this is something that you turn on in the app, but instead of having to hover over either one of the ear cups, you just start speaking and it'll automatically pipe in ambient noise. And then once you stop talking, ANC returns and quiets everything down. One final improvement that at least Sony feels is a big deal is the improvement to DSEE. It's now called DSEE Extreme, and basically this is upscaling for your audio. The idea is if you're listening to lossy or compressed music, DSEE Extreme will use AI to improve it, get rid of some of that sibilance that you get in lossy music. It works fairly well, but it is by no means a jaw-dropping feature. One feature that has stuck around, and I'm happy to see this because I enjoy using it, is the personal optimization feature. So you turn this on and it takes a series of readings inside and outside of the headphones, gauging your environment and then optimizing the noise canceling accordingly. It's very effective. It also sort of balances out the atmospheric pressure, so you don't get that like sucking sound that you do with some other noise canceling headphones. I enjoy that very much. 360 reality audio is still here. That's a feature where the app takes a picture of your ears and it adapts the sound to try and create this realistic 360-degree sound field. And I gotta say, it's kind of fun. It's very eerie how it can place certain instruments in space, almost like a surround sound effect. There are a couple apps that support this. Tidal and Deezer come to mind, so definitely check that out if you're interested. Now let's talk about the improvements to noise canceling. Good news, it is now better, but not in the way that you might think. So let's say I'm on a plane, and I'm definitely not getting on a plane anytime soon. I probably wouldn't notice a huge difference between the noise canceling effectiveness of the XM3 versus the XM4. Where the improvements lay in the higher frequency suppression. So if you've got family members talking behind you or cars passing by, those annoying beeps on big trucks when they go in reverse, or sirens, for crying out loud. We get a lot of sirens around here. It's going to more effectively block those kind of sounds. So really the takeaway here is that it blocks more of the world out. Now let's talk about sound quality, which great news there, it hasn't changed a bit. Everything that we loved about the XM3 is right here in the XM4. Everything that made the XM3 rise to the top of all our best headphones list, still there in the XM4. And that means rock solid bass that doesn't pound your head, very tuneful, big open mid-range, very revealing sparkly treble that never gets super excessive or harsh. It's just an extremely well-balanced, robust sound that I think everybody loves. Same news around call quality. It's exactly the same as it was before, which is to say that it cancels as much of the noise around you for the person on the other end of your call as it does for you. So if I'm outside walking around with buses going by, they're not going to hear the buses any louder than I will. And that's excellent news for business types who not only need great noise canceling for traveling, but use these day to day to speak to clients and other people. So if we're going to run it down, we've got multi-point connection, which is probably the biggest improvement here, then a slightly more comfortable headphone to wear, slightly better noise canceling quality, the same great call and sound quality that we had before, which is fantastic, lots of bells and whistles and features, plus now you can just speak to talk instead of hovering your hand over the ear cup. I mean, folks, I think the headline here is really, really easy. The best just got better. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. What did you think of the Sony wh1000xm4? Terrible name, but great headphones. Are you excited to get a pair? Leave me a comment down below. Also like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and as always, visit digitaltrends.com for the latest tech news and reviews.